We were able to build a brokerage and sell 300 homes in the last 4 years from social media, and my content's not that amazing. It's just honest and authentic. We went from 40 to 88 million in 2 years in a downdrafter year. Social media is not the short game, it's the long game. In the beginning, it's going to feel like the short game because you're going to get people coming to you. But then you have to figure out how to assess who's actually a buyer and who's just here for the long run. And it's okay to be here for the long run. We're here for the education of it all, going through like all of those people and making sure that they have information and making sure that they understand who you are and you're not just a Zillow agent. You don't want to go viral. Everyone's like, I want to go viral. I want a lot of views. I think if you have over like 100,000 views, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. You don't want to just make a lot of money. You want to create wealth. And that's like a big difference. Going through that with the team and having them understand what their trajectory looks like and what a little bit more effort looks like. To count on Zillow is scary. That's a lot scarier than putting your face on social media. When the pandemic hit, I had like my tech job, I had a side hustle, tutoring, and then I was also doing real estate on the weekends and like after work. I thought I would use my income from other places to invest in real estate, get my license, and like it'll just be this like easy thing. And then when the pandemic hit, I got furloughed. My husband took over the tutoring and I had this time, and I'm not really like a relaxer. And he was like, you have to be posting on TikTok. He's like scrolling, right? And I'm like, oh my God, like do something. So I just started going to houses and taking videos. And I was like one of the first people. I don't know if anybody posted earlier than I did, but you know, those like what X gets you in X city. I did that every single day because people couldn't even tour houses because it was literally March 2020. And then just started posting from there. And then the thing is like with content, you meet people that you like that also like you, which is different. Like we were talking about, like Zillow is people who want a house and you sell houses. So there's a whole other layer on social media that's like, I want a house, you're selling a house. I want information, you have information. Also, I like you and I feel like I know you. And also, I really enjoy like helping you buy or sell a home. So it just honestly is a lot easier way to do business. Is it the most cost effective? In the beginning, definitely not, because it's slower. But we've been really successful at slowly growing every year, like 30 to 50%. And that's not because, you know, we're like adding in streams of leads that we're buying from places. It's because we're cultivating a really good environment. And it's slow and steady, but if you want to call it that way, like slow and steady, it's 300 homes in 4 years, which is a lot. If you really want to scale a business fast, you could do it fast, you know, and burn and churn kind of like Zillow does. I find we get a lot of like agents who like come from like trauma. So when they come to Reframe, they like need to get rid of their trauma from like a Zillow Flex team. And it's, you know, it takes a minute for them to like readjust and readapt. And this ends up being a more sustainable way to do business. Us, we redefined what a lead meant. A lead means you had a conversation and they're going to buy or sell in 12 months. Versus a prospect is somebody who was like, here's my email, send me information. I'm interested in something. I would say like we would get probably like per year over the last like 4 years, maybe like 500 prospects a year just from social media. And they're like messaging us directly, giving us their email and like coming forward with the information. And then we're taking those people and over time closing them. So basically what's happening is a lot of people live in our system for a long time. They go into a call with us. They talk to a lender. They get numbers. They don't get a pre-approved. They just get information. This is the majority of people. Obviously, some people are like, let's go. I see a house. Let's make it happen. But most people, then we're setting them up on Real Scout. I have like hundreds and hundreds of people on there, and they're just sitting there watching what happens and figuring out like what they like and what they don't like. And then when they're ready to buy, they have like some kind of background knowledge of all of the homes that make sense for them. And then, so each year we're getting more people in, but also some of those other people who are like taking their time are like trickling back up. There's a difference between attracting people to your channels and then closing people, not closing the deal, closing people on wanting to work with you as a person, right? And so the attracting is like home tours, local things, personality, right? Okay. And the thing that actually closes the buyers is and sellers is people want to know that you've done it before, and they want to know you have a good track record, and that your clients like you, and that you're a competent person, and that you're the person who's going to represent them when they're trying to make an offer to a seller. Like I had this client once, and he was like, yeah, the reason we went with you is like, my parents don't speak English. You know, I'm not like an extroverted person. I'm not going to be able to walk into an open house and like make the listing agent feel confident in me. And I feel like you were the person who would best represent us and like be the person that makes it happen. And I really thought about that, because I'm like, a lot of people think like agents are just doing paperwork, or not my buyers, but a lot of people think that, right? Like they don't really know. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, because they're basically representing you as a whole package to make it happen. And so when buyers are looking on social media, they want to see who that person is. They're like, oh, okay, I can work with this person for a long time. I can trust them to guide me in like the biggest financial decision of my life. And I can trust them to represent me to others. And so that's what that closing thing is. People need to know that about you. So if you're not posting your face and talking, it's not going to work.
Really quickly, before we get back into the episode, do you want to grow a hyper-local media company like Kyle Talbot? He added 20 million in sales to his real estate business using Instagram and YouTube. And I created a completely free playbook in the description below. It goes over all of his templates, everything that he used to grow over 70,000 followers on Instagram, 10,000 on YouTube. So if you want to download it and implement it in your business today, click the link below and download it. It's completely free. Let's get back to the episode.
Our whole thing is we're high touch, right? Usually when you get like a higher price point, that's when you have that like really like white glove, high touch service. We're high touch if you're buying a $200,000 home, if they exist, or like a $2 million home. Right? It's this going to be the same experience no matter what. And so that means that like we need like humans to do things. Okay. So the way I see everything I do at Reframe, I have like buyers and sellers and investors that are clients. Okay. Also my agents are my clients. Right.
Yeah.
And so a product is only as good as the people who use it, like get the value from it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so if I put everything on a Google spreadsheet, do you think anyone's going to use it? No, not my Gen Z and millennial team. They will not use it, right? Like people think, oh, I have an employee, I'm going to tell them to do this, and they'll just do it. They're still humans. Like no one's a robot, you know, and like you have to make things easy for people. So everything that we have is based off of triggers and a list of tasks based on a trigger. So something has to trigger it. And so we're also looking at like, how do we physically work through these kinds of things, and like, what can we use? So we have things on Monday right now, which has been the thing that works best for my team. It doesn't work best for me, but it doesn't matter. I'm not using it. Yeah. Right. So we've been using Monday. But that's what we're exploring right now. Monday and Slack. Those are the two, things that we are using, because you can trigger a lot of different items with notifications. I got this checklist from one of my mentors. I've seen like 18 buyer checklists. And then I figured out, okay, what is the best thing for me? The thing is, you have to build what makes sense for you, because I looked at somebody else's checklist and I'm like, this would never work for us. Like no one would do anything. The psychology of a task being completed is actually very important. If no one uses it, you didn't actually create anything. You just wrote some stuff down. The three things that I use, I have a pretty intense, I like spreadsheets. So I have an intense spreadsheet where I can track, I have 10 agents. Okay. So it's not as difficult if you have like 50 to 100 agents, but it's a spreadsheet that actually tracks, you fill in the deals, and it'll give you like a pretty deep analysis of where you're at. So you can see the numbers on like a high level. That's important, right? Mm-hmm. To understand like where your volume's coming from and how are people doing, and what, like, you don't want to start calculating people's allocation. You want to just be able to see it. Most agents don't track their numbers. Even agents on my team. I'm like, you guys, here's a sheet. Let's do it together, you know? But tracking the numbers and really understanding, I also do projections to understand like where things are at, so we know where we need to be. So that's one thing. I like spent 10, 20 hours on this spreadsheet, just like really making it like my headquarters. If anybody wants it, I'm happy to share it. Two, we use Google Sites to have all of like the information that the team needs to access. So basic things like, here's the spreadsheet you fill out for our one-on-ones or here's the type form you fill out for our one-on-ones. Here's the type form you fill out when you open an escrow, when you get a listing. Here's a bunch of tools and resources for you. And then on that same website, also all of our listing, marketing material, all these templates that are important. If people don't know how to access information, they will not do things.
Yeah.
Right. So with my team, I'm not like, hey guys, here's this website for you. It's super easy. No, I'm like, everyone sit down, open your computers, go to this website, bookmark this website, save it in your bookmarks bar. And if they ask me a question and something's on that website, I tell them to go there. Nobody asks me for that information anymore. So it's not just, it's like enabling, making something that's usable, enabling them to use it, and then reinforcing that behavior. And then on that website, we have Reframe University, which is like a list of videos of my recorded calls or of any training that I do. If I train someone, I'm going to record it, make a video, and it's going to get uploaded to that website. Before we had it on Continue, people weren't using Continue as much because you had to like log in, click to the thing, search the thing you wanted, and it was too many clicks. And like I said, my agents are my clients. I need them to access the information and to actually utilize it. So everything's on there so they can do a command find and find the thing that they are looking for. And like, it's all broken down by like listings, buyers, escrow, kind of a situation. It just like has to be accessible. And if you don't have those three things, you're going to end up in admin hell. Your foundation's not set right. Also, like just little things like bringing people on who you could see as a leader in some way, shape, or form one day, because I can't do everything forever. So I need people who I can like trust and count on. If someone has good ethics, they're going to be fine. If someone's a hard worker, they're going to be fine. But if you don't have those two things, you'll like never make it at Reframe. I started building this when I had a team of like 2 or 3 people. And in the beginning, it was just like a Google sheet. And there were a lot of terms that go in an offer that we just repeat. But I want everyone to use the right language. So instead of being like, oh yeah, just put an escalation clause in there. No, go to the agent playbook, copy and paste the exact wording. Make it easy for yourself. You know, if it's easier for me and it's easier for the agents, like it's hard to fail. And it's so simple, but a lot of people don't do it. And then that's how things get messed up. And then you have problems.
Really quickly, before we get back into the episode, did you know that email beats the ROI of social media 40-1? If you want to turn your email list into more listing appointments, then you need to check out Ella. Ella is the only email marketing agency for real estate agents. We help you build a hyper-local email newsletter. We also send conversation starter emails, and we do way more. So you can turn your email into a profitable marketing channel this year. Click the link below. Check it out. Hope to see you in there. Let's get back to the episode.
A system can be like anything that puts things in an organized manner. And this is how I see it, right? Yeah. Like, for example, I was doing these one-on-ones with my team, and we were just like talking once a week and trying to figure out, you know, what they needed to do better. And I'm like, okay, well, now what we're going to do is you're going to fill out this form every single week and track these data points. And then we're going to review these data points over a period of time. It takes you 5 minutes to fill out this form. And the way that you feel when you're filling out this form is going to tell you if you did a good job or a bad job. And then when we do our 15-minute call, instead of a 30-minute call, because at 30 minutes, I'm like, how's your dog? At 15 minutes, I'm like, what's going on in the business? How did it go? How did it go with this client? What are you expecting? What are you tracking for? What can we improve? What can we tweak? Right? It's like high tempo testing. That's what we're doing with our agents. It's like an accelerator program. And like, that's a system that really impacted like how our team worked last year. And then on top of that system, we have, or like even processes, right? Or standards. Then this like last year, I'm like, look, everyone needs to have a business plan, and we're going to refer to the business plan of like what you're going to do and what you are saying you're going to do. And we're going to put it on top of your desk. Boom, right there. So you can like actually see what's going on and be really intentional about what you're trying to do and how you're spending your time. I have everyone update their calendars with how they're spending their time so we can actually talk about it. I even track my own time on my calendar down to like the 15 minutes because I want to see how many hours I'm spending on personal stuff versus work stuff versus like EO, you know, and those 3 things take up the majority of my time. And that's pretty much it. That's like all I do. Personal, work, and EO stuff. And that's really like about, you know, working on the business. If I ever do something multiple times, I'm like, no, I'm not teaching this again. I'm going to like make this into like a training. I have 10 agents and a few staff members. So instead of being like, hey guys, we're going to have our meetings every single week. Now we have a plan in place. We have a team meeting every other week. we have a training every other week. So there's 4, everybody knows on Wednesdays you have to be here at 10. And why did I do 10? Because sometimes agents have a hard time getting in here early in the morning, and 10's not even that early. But the thing is, it keeps everybody accountable, you know? And then this year I'm like, we need to track leads better. So now we have a spreadsheet. Now that's, you know, we're actually able to track those numbers. I have a team meeting to go over leads and what's going on with our transactions every Tuesday. And then if I'm noticing a trending pattern of like problems or issues that people are having, I add in something on the Tuesdays and Wednesdays that I know everyone's going to be in office and people can come then. So if you like have these little things in place where you're like, okay, look, every month I know what this is going to look like. You can build your infrastructure and then put in everything else around it, and it'll all make sense in the end. It's really easy to be an agent or be at Reframe if you're a really good fit for Reframe. It's easy. You don't even have to have sales, you know, because we have a really I feel like specific culture. The people who are at Reframe love it at Reframe. If you're not like a culture fit, then you would hate it here. And it's very hard to join. So it's not like a me decision. It comes down to culture, how hardworking you are, in ethics, right? And if you fit all of those 3 things, this is the spot for you. So when we have people come in, 1, I've never recruited. 2, most people come from social media or like referrals from other agents on our team. And 3, I'm not the only person who talks to them. Usually I'll have Joey, who was my past assistant, who's an agent now, or Patrick, who's my lead partner right now, interview them. And then I'll take them to coffee, see what they're like, see if it's a fit. I take a long time to hire. I do have people take DISC personality tests. I listen to what they say about how they treat their clients. That's a really, like when I say ethics, right? Like I'm not talking like they're trying to screw someone over. I'm saying like if someone's not willing to do the most for their clients with no additional financial benefit, then it's not a good fit. I ask them like what their transactions are like and how do they meet their clients? Oh, how did it go with that client? And like, what is your relationship today? Because just in a regular conversation, you can kind of suss it out. If you're a new agent, it's about how eager and trainable are you and how good are you at taking direction, right? Like one of my agents was brand new, but I'm like, I love talking to her because every time I talk to her, she's like solving problems because she's growing so fast. She's like, I signed 4 BRBCs this month. And I'm like, amazing. Like how? Right. And we're like tweaking what she's doing week after week and it's working because she's taking all of the advice and implementing it. And now she's growing. And that's for me very exciting, even though she like didn't have any sales. I don't expect everyone to be the most kick-ass agent in their first year. Meaning like in sales, but I expect you to be like a kick-ass person. You know, that's important. We typically weed people out in the hiring process. Like a bad fit is someone who's not very collaborative and someone's who's like a little too like aggressively competitive with the team because we do really all work together. A bad fit is somebody who's just constantly complaining about their clients. Like I get it. There's problems, but like, not that many, you know? A bad fit is someone who's negative. Like, and by the way, a negative person pollutes the rest of your team. And if they're sitting next to somebody else in your office, that other person is going to have the effect of that and it's going to affect their business. And so the way I see it is like, I'm protecting the team for who we have. Last year, I really like figured out, I'm like, okay, we all need to be working on our mindset together. And that was a big unlock for me versus focusing on like just the numbers. It's like actually moving the ship means you can't just tell people, hey, you need to figure out how to prepare for your future, right? You need to figure out how to have a certain income. You need to figure out how to have recurring income, rental properties, how to take care of your kids in the future. These are the things that you need to be like prepared for in life, right? You don't want to just make a lot of money. You want to create wealth.
Yeah.
And that's like a big difference. And so actually going through that with the team and having them understand like what their trajectory looks like and what a little bit more effort looks like, that's like way different than being like me telling them. That's different from me saying, hey, you guys need to work harder so that you can have a better life versus me saying, hey, if you did this and this and this, this is what it's going to get you. If you do this instead, this is what you're going to build and how it's all going to work together. And this is the kind of life you're going to have. That's totally different, right? And like tapping into like people's individual personalities. And so we did like a 3-day retreat, and we didn't do that much real estate stuff. It was more about like self-development. So now my problem is I'm like dealing with problems as they come up. I'm like, okay, you guys have all these people coming in as leads from social media or from whatever. Now I need to figure out how I can help you guys optimize that. Their personality is aligned with what we're doing. So I'm not building anything that they don't want to use. That's the key, right? I'm building things for myself and I'm testing it on myself. And if it's good and it helps me and it helps my clients, then I'm going to have everybody else use it. And then I'm going to train everybody. I'm going to see how I can make it a little bit better in that training, figure out what the best way for them to utilize it is. They're going to be vocal. They're going to tell me, we hate that. We hate this. This is going to make it easier. Let's do it this way. Cool. Collaborative, right?
Yeah.
And they're all going to, then they like what we're doing, right? Typically, if they're not doing something that I'm like, hey, you guys need to do this, it's because there's something that's off, right? And you need to look at it like a product. Like everything is like a product. If someone's not using your product, it's because something's off, right? So it has to make sense. As long as it makes sense, everything's good. It's like the hard thing isn't getting people to do it. The hard thing is figuring out the formula of whatever the thing is that you're building so people want to use it. If I gave them a spreadsheet, they're not going to do it. But if I'm like, listen, you're all on Slack already, you're going to get notifications. And if you follow this notification, it's going to make things 10 times easier for you in X, Y, and Z. Well, guess what? Everyone does it. In order to not be the face of everything, it has to be about the service, right? And the experience that people have. So that's why I'm trying to create those systems where I'm like, everything is the same feeling across the board. We've now closed 300 clients over the last 4 years. So the majority of those people are people who came in through my social media, like the super majority, like 250 of those 300, right? And with that many people, as long as we're doing a good job helping them even after they close, that's how we've been getting a lot of recurring clients. A lot of people are moving up in their properties, or they're giving us referrals, or their parents or their kids are buying and now they need more help. And so that's really like our long-term game. Real estate's interesting, right? Because you can come in and just do a really good job and build a sustainable business by simply doing a good job. Sounds simple. There's like I mentioned, like a million things you have to be aware of. But we have a really big closed client community. That's the next thing that I'm trying to focus on for that group. So we do like 2 big events a year. We do a pumpkin patch at my house. We do a Lunar New Year party. And that hits the majority of that group. We also do trust and will workshops and try to like always add value, whether it's finding vendors who will help our clients at like a good rate with good quality service, or just being there to help give them the information that they need. I'm trying to build other like magnets for people.
Okay.
We have everyone come into Follow Up Boss. We have them on action plans. When there's special things that come up, like for example, Citibank or City National had a program where they were giving away grant money. And so we send an email then, and that activates a good amount of, of 2,000 people, it activate 20. And that's like a really great situation to be in. Social media is not the short game. It's the long game. In the beginning, it's going to feel like the short game because you're going to get people coming to you. But then you have to figure out how to assess who's actually a buyer and who's just here for the long run. And it's okay to be here for the long run. That's the thing. Like that's a big part of our message is we're here for the education of it all. But actually going through like all of those people and making sure that they have information and making sure that they understand who you are and you're not just like a Zillow agent is a big thing. So it's 1 video a day, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
And they're not the same video on TikTok and Instagram because we have a lot of overlapping audience. On our TikTok, we always try to move people over to Instagram. And the thing is, TikTok is a wider audience, okay? But if they go from TikTok to Instagram, they're a more serious audience. But we try to be consistent with our content. When our content is a little slower, it follows the market, by the way. The number of leads we get follows how many leads are happening in the market. Every year, we're putting in more effort, right? And more systems into place to have probably the same amount of leads as the year before. But because, like I told you, like the leads are stacking and they're taking their time to buy a home, that's why we're able to close more deals. And we went from 40 to 88 million in 2 years. And so we have that, working in our favor in a down market year after year. Like a lead magnet can be, some people want a Real Scout account. Some people want a buyer guide or a seller guide, or they want a list of new construction homes in the area. And so it's like providing the value is really important. But we also want them to get to Instagram so that they can see all the buyers that we've helped buy homes, because that's also something where they're like, oh, they can do it. I can do it. We started with like champagne poppings, like really aggressive champagne poppings. Okay. Where like I'd be soaked in champagne with like a cute little sign. And I think before I started in real estate, I was stalking everyone on Instagram. I was like, who can I be like? And then I was like, you know what? I need to be my own person. And I thought, nobody really has like a champagne popping video that's like just wild. Like just like champagne everywhere. Now a lot of people do. I don't know. Maybe they did have it before, but now that people can take really great videos on their iPhones, things are kind of changing right over the last 4 years. But we were doing like crazy champagne poppings, and we would do it with Vuv, and people would be like, wow, you're spending like $60 on a bottle to pop. And then they would start commenting on it. And it's just kind of something that we're known for. So just like cute little visuals for them so that they can use that with like their family and their friends. Everyone who follows me, we DM and we ask them if they want a buyer guide. Everyone who messages us, we ask them if they want to schedule a call on our calendar. Simple. We're just accessible, right? We're accessible and like helpful and very no pressure. The no pressure is part of our marketing. I think being quick to respond makes a difference. I do think, though, that the majority of the clients that we have they follow a bunch of realtors on social media, and they've made a conscious decision to reach out to us. The majority, like 60%. 40% are like, oh, the wind blew this way. I follow them. I followed them for a while. I was easy to schedule a call. They were nice on the phone. They have a lot of information, and I'll work with them. The other 60% are like, I saw your weddings. I know you have 2 dogs. I know your whole team. Congratulations. Like, will you be my agent? And it's totally different, right? So it just depends who you have. But the building the relationship on social media, I think the important thing to understand is like, you don't want to go viral. Everyone's like, I want to go viral. I want a lot of views. I think if you have over like 100,000 views, you're probably doing yourself a disservice, because you really only want local views. I don't want to go viral outside of my area, right? If you have a video that hits 1 million views, you think those are all people in Orange County? No, right? You want to stay on the Orange County. For me, I want to stay on the Orange County algorithm or Southern California. I want to farm Orange County, not like farm one little area, I think if you actually care about the people you work with, so like, how I told you infrastructure is really important. And for me, like hiring is the most important thing. If you don't like the people who are working with you and they don't agree with like your vision and they're not interested, I'm not saying willing, they're not interested in doing the same kind of things you're doing, then everything is hard in life. But if you have that already there and you care about your team, everything's easy. If you're a leader and you can, especially in real estate, you have a lot of leaders who are like jealous if somebody starts to do well, right? Because as a real estate agent, you're like, oh, everybody should come to me. I'm an amazing realtor. But then you have a team that makes no sense, So if you truly want what's best for your team and you really have like the care and the desire to see people grow and to help them, you're going to have like this really awesome symbiotic relationship and be able to help them. And I think that's what makes a good leader. Like you actually care, like a holistic approach, right? Like this last year, I'm like, okay, you guys need to figure out your finances. I'm going to bring in a financial planner to teach you about your own finances so that you guys can have that knowledge, right? And I'm like, okay, people need to like start tracking their numbers better. And the thing is like, if someone's on a team and they're just forever like in this circle of, okay, they make like 100, 150 a year, and then they spend 100, 150 a year, you're not actually helping them. You just have an employee. Like you need to help them get to the next level and figure out what their desire in life is. And, as long as you've got the right people in place, it's all worth it. That's where I feel like the future of Reframe is, like being that holistic team or that holistic, I guess, environment for the team. Like, it's not just for them to sell homes, but like, hopefully one day we're all investing in properties together and flipping homes together. And, you know, we've got like the infrastructure in place to do it all. I think a lot of times people don't have the confidence to go on social media, or they just feel like it's not a real thing for them because of age or a million different reasons. Everyone's on social media, first of all. Second of all, you don't have to be perfect. If you look at my videos, most of them are filmed on an iPhone. They're not perfect. My editing's not perfect. I don't have ultra professional content, but I don't know anybody who converts more than like, I don't know anyone who's converted more than like 150 million in social media leads. But we were able to build a brokerage and sell 300 homes in the last like 4 years from social media. And my content's not that amazing. It's just like honest and authentic. And I feel like if you're pushing who you are, as long as you're a good person, then it's easy to attract the right people to you, you know? And it's not just about like showing up and posting a video a day. It's about like actually thinking, who am I? And if my favorite clients, what would they want to see? And why are those my favorite people? Probably because you guys vibe together. And like, how am I going to get the word out? I think real estate's interesting because I feel like there's a bazillion opportunities. And I'm always trying to like hire people to take my workload down so I can go pursue those opportunities. Cause I feel like there's a million of them. There's so many opportunities in real estate. That's why you have people coming in all the time doing one little niche thing and like building something. And to count on Zillow is scary. That's a lot scarier than putting your face on social media. So I think it's doable. I'm on Instagram at Realtor Kina, and I'm on TikTok at SoCal_Realtor. And if people have questions or anything, they can DM me. But yeah, happy to help.